SkyAlert USA Weather Emergency Report, January 5, 2026. Critical weather across North America introduction. Good day, everyone. This is SkyAlert USA bringing you a critical weather update for Monday, January 5, 2026. We are tracking multiple significant weather systems impacting the United States and Canada, simultaneously creating what meteorologists are calling one of the most complex weather patterns of the young year. From devastating winter storms dumping record-breaking snowfall in the mountains, to dangerous flooding along the California coast, and from a polar vortex bringing Arctic temperatures to the eastern United States to critical fire weather conditions in the southern plains, this is a day that demands your full attention to weather safety. Breaking. Historic winter storm impacts 7 states' mountain regions. Face up to 5 feet of snow. The National Weather Service has issued urgent winter storm warnings affecting 7 states across the western and northeastern United States. This is not your typical winter weather event. We're talking about a storm system of historic proportions that is creating life-threatening conditions across vast swaths of mountain terrain. Summers in Northern California's Sierra Nevada mountains. The situation is absolutely critical. Winter storm warnings remain in effect through 4 p.m. Pacific time today, with forecasters calling for catastrophic snowfall totals. The West Slope, Northern Sierra Nevada, Western Plumas County, and Lassen Park counties are facing the brunt of this storm. Above 6,000 feet elevation, meteorologists are predicting 3 to 5 feet of snow accumulation, with locally higher amounts possible on the highest peaks. Even at lower elevations above 4,500 feet, 6 to 10 inches of heavy, wet snow is expected. But it's not just the snow that's dangerous. Wind gusts are forecast to reach 55 miles per hour in these areas, creating near-blizzard conditions with severely reduced visibility. The combination of heavy snow and high winds creates a phenomenon meteorologists call whiteout conditions, where drivers literally cannot see more than a few feet in front of their vehicles. Lake Tahoe region, under siege. The greater Lake Tahoe area is experiencing some of the most dangerous conditions. Winter storm warnings extend through 10 a.m. Pacific time Monday morning. Above 7,000 feet, 1 to 3 feet of snow is expected, with the most likely scenario being around 2 feet. However, at lake level, even areas typically more temperate are seeing 4 to 12 inches of accumulation. What makes this particularly dangerous is the wind. Sustained winds of 35 to 45 miles per hour are battering the region. But on the ridgetops, wind gusts are exceeding 100 miles per hour. That's hurricane-force winds combined with heavy snowfall. These extreme winds are creating massive waves on Lake Tahoe itself, with wave heights reaching 1 to 3 feet, which is highly unusual for a lake. The National Weather Service has issued a stark warning for this region. Travel could be very difficult to impossible. Strong winds could cause tree damage. Caltrans, California's transportation authority, is strongly encouraging motorists to avoid travel through the Sierra Nevada entirely, if possible. Chain controls are in effect on all mountain passes, and several routes have already been temporarily closed due to dangerous conditions. Eastern states feel winter's fury. In upstate New York, Oswego County has been hammered by intense lake-effect snow. A winter storm warning was in effect through Saturday evening, with the most persistent snow bands adding 8 to 12 inches to already deep snow cover. Lake-effect snow is a unique and dangerous phenomenon where cold air masses move across the relatively warmer waters of the Great Lakes, picking up moisture and dumping it as heavy snow on downwind shores. The National Weather Service notes that during lake-effect snow events, weather conditions can vary dramatically over very short distances. You might have heavy snow and near-zero visibility in one location, while just a few miles away, conditions are dry and clear. This makes travel exceptionally dangerous, because drivers can suddenly encounter whiteout conditions without warning. Watertown, New York, another Great Lakes community, has seen snowfall totals between 12 and 24 inches over the past several days. The sheer volume of snow is creating significant problems for road crews trying to keep highways clear. Mountain West, under winter siege. The winter storms reach extends far beyond California and New York. In Idaho's Bear River Range, a winter storm warning issued early this morning warns of heavy snow through 3 p.m. Mountain Time. 4 to 8 inches is expected below 7,000 feet, but above that elevation, 1 to 2 feet of snow will accumulate. The National Weather Service advises that travel could be very difficult and urges anyone who must travel to carry emergency supplies, including extra flashlights, food and water, or gains. South Central Cascades, including the scenic areas around Crater Lake and Diamond Lake, are also under winter weather advisories. Snow levels, which started around 7,500 feet on Saturday, have dropped dramatically to around 4,500 feet by today. This means snow is falling at much lower elevations than initially expected, catching some travelers off guard. Mountain passes including Etna Summit, the MT Shasta Ski Park Highway, and Scott Mountain may become impassable, with strong winds threatening to break tree branches that could fall across roadways. Wyoming, Utah, and even parts of Alaska are facing similar winter storm conditions through early this week. This is truly a continent-spanning winter weather event. California flooding crisis continues. Atmospheric river brings catastrophic rain while the mountains face snow. California's lower elevations are dealing with an entirely different but equally dangerous threat. Flooding, a powerful atmospheric river, sometimes called a river in the sky, has aimed directly at Northern California, bringing torrential rainfall that is overwhelming drainage systems and causing widespread flooding. More than 17 million Americans are currently under flood watches through Thursday night. An atmospheric river is a narrow corridor of concentrated moisture in the atmosphere that can transport enormous amounts of water vapor. When these systems make landfall, they can dump incredible amounts of rain in a very short period. San Diego experienced this firsthand to start the new year. The city was inundated with over 2 inches of rain, ranking among the 15 rainiest days in the city's recorded history. Roads flooded, vehicles became stranded, and dangerous conditions developed as drivers attempted to navigate through high water. First responders had to conduct multiple water rescues of motorists who tried to drive through flooded roadways. Northern California faces renewed flooding threat. Northern California is now bracing for renewed flash flooding as another wave of heavy rain moves through the region. Areas like Vacaville, Sacramento, and Marysville could receive up to 2 inches of rain through Sunday. While 2 inches might not sound like much when it falls on already saturated ground from previous storms, it has nowhere to go except into streets, homes, and businesses. The flood watch remains in effect for much of Northern California. Forecasters are particularly concerned about areas that have received heavy rain over the past week. The ground is completely saturated, streams and rivers are running high, and any additional rainfall could quickly lead to flash flooding. The atmospheric river is also bringing strong winds to the Sacramento Valley and adjacent foothills. A wind advisory warns of south winds between 15 and 25 miles per hour, with gusts up to 45 miles per hour. The strongest winds are expected in the Chico area and points north. These winds, combined with saturated soil, increase the risk of trees falling, which could damage power lines and structures. Coastal flooding and king tides. The San Francisco Bay Area is dealing with yet another flooding threat. Coastal flooding from exceptionally high tides combined with storm surge. King tides, the highest tides of the year, occurred at the start of January. When combined with storm systems pushing water onshore, the result was significant coastal flooding. The National Weather Service issued coastal flood warnings for the San Francisco Bay shoreline. Warning of up to 2.5 feet of inundation above ground level in low-lying areas near shorelines and tidal waterways. These extraordinarily high water levels flooded parking lots, roads, and in some cases, businesses along the waterfront. Marin County experienced particularly significant flooding as the combination of king tides and storms brought rising water into typically dry areas. Arctic invasion. Polar vortex grips eastern North America, understanding the polar vortex displacement. While the western United States battles storms, the eastern half of the country and much of southern Canada are in the grip of a significant cold air outbreak driven by a displaced polar vortex. The polar vortex is a large area of low pressure and cold air that normally sits over the Arctic during winter. However, when high-pressure systems in the atmosphere pinch the polar vortex, they can displace a portion of it southward, allowing Arctic air to plunge into North America. This is exactly what's happening now. Meteorologists at Severe Weather Europe explained that pressure waves, known as Rossby waves, have pushed a core of the polar vortex out of the polar regions and into North America. This displacement has strengthened the northerly jet stream, acting like a highway for Arctic air to flow southward. Dangerous cold temperatures. The temperature anomalies are startling. Forecasts show temperatures significantly below normal for early January across the entire eastern United States and southeastern Canada. The upper Midwest is experiencing deeply negative temperatures, with some areas seeing actual air temperatures well below 0 Fahrenheit. Around the Great Lakes and throughout the Northeast, temperatures are running 15 to 25 degrees below normal. But perhaps most shocking is how far south this cold air is penetrating. Freezing temperatures are reaching the southeastern United States and even northern Florida. Areas that typically enjoy mild winter temperatures are experiencing a genuine hard freeze. This is dangerous for several reasons. Pipes can burst, homeless populations are at extreme risk, and agricultural areas face potential damage to crops not accustomed to such cold. Overnight, low temperatures in the Midwest are dropping into the negative single digits to low teens Fahrenheit. When you factor in wind chill, the feels-like temperatures are even more dangerous, potentially reaching 30 to 40 degrees below zero in exposed areas. At these temperatures, frostbite can occur on exposed skin in less than 10 minutes. Eastern Canada faces bitter cold. Southern Ontario is experiencing what the Old Farmer's Almanac describes as bitter cold conditions, with flurries from January 1st through 5th. Toronto saw temperatures drop to dangerous levels, with daytime highs struggling to reach the mid-20s Fahrenheit and overnight lows plunging into the teens. The average temperature for Ontario in January is expected to be negative 6.5 degrees Celsius, significantly below the normal range. Parts of Quebec, particularly Montreal and Quebec City, are facing even more extreme cold, with temperatures dropping into the negative teens Fahrenheit and wind chills making it feel even colder. Heavy snowfall is expected across Ontario, with the province forecasting 19 snowy days throughout January. Toronto alone expects 9 snowy days in the first part of the month. The combination of heavy snow and extreme cold creates a compounding problem. Snow removal becomes more difficult in extreme cold because salt and other ice-melting chemicals become less effective. Road crews must use different strategies, and clearing operations take longer, meaning roads stay hazardous for extended periods. Critical fire weather, red flag warnings, dangerous fire conditions in southern plains. While much of the nation battles winter weather, parts of Colorado, Oklahoma, and the Texas Panhandle are facing an entirely different threat: critical fire weather. Red flag warnings were in effect through Monday afternoon, creating a dangerous situation where any fire that starts could spread rapidly and become difficult to control. A red flag warning means that critical fire weather conditions are either occurring or will occur shortly. In this case, the combination of very low relative humidity and gusty winds is creating the perfect environment for wildfires. To ignite and spread, relative humidity in these areas dropped below 15%, which means the air is extremely dry. Vegetation, already dried out from winter conditions, becomes like kindling. Wind gusts in the warning areas reached 30 to 40 miles per hour. When you combine low humidity with strong winds, any spark can quickly become a major fire. Burning embers can be carried by the wind for miles, starting new fires far from the original ignition point. This is how wildfires can rapidly grow out of control. The red flag warnings affected multiple counties in each state. In Colorado, Pueblo, Huérfano, Las Animas, Crowley, Otero, and El Paso counties were all under warnings from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Mountain Time. Similar warnings covered western Oklahoma and the Texas Panhandle through Monday evening. Spire. Officials urge extreme caution during red flag warning periods. Outdoor burning should be avoided entirely, as even a small controlled fire can quickly escape control. Equipment that could create sparks, such as lawnmowers or chainsaws, should not be used. Vehicles should avoid driving through dry grass areas, as hot exhaust systems can ignite grass. Residents should ensure they have evacuation plans ready, in case a wildfire does start and begin to spread toward populated areas. 3-day forecast outlook Tuesday, January 6th. The winter storm system affecting the western mountains will begin to wind down, though lingering snow showers will continue in higher elevations. Expect an additional 3 to 6 inches in the highest peaks of the Sierra Nevada, with lighter amounts at lower elevations. Road conditions will remain hazardous as snow that fell over the weekend begins to melt during the day and refreeze at night, creating icy conditions. California's Coastal flooding threat will ease as the atmospheric river moves eastward. Though scattered showers will continue, rivers and streams will remain elevated, and floodwatches may persist in areas that receive the heaviest rainfall. The Arctic cold will maintain its grip on the eastern United States and Canada. Temperatures will remain well below normal, though winds will begin to decrease, reducing wind chill values slightly. High temperatures in the northeast will struggle to reach the 20s, with overnight lows in the single digits. Wednesday, January 7th, a new weather system will begin to approach the Pacific Northwest, bringing rain to coastal areas and snow to the Cascades. This won't be as intense as the current system, but it will bring renewed travel challenges to mountain passes in Washington and Oregon. The polar vortex cold air mass will start to shift eastward, allowing temperatures to moderate slightly in the Midwest. Though the northeast and eastern Canada will remain cold, lake effect snow will continue downwind of the Great Lakes, adding several more inches to areas that have already received heavier. Thursday, January 8th, the Pacific Northwest storm will move inland, bringing snow to the northern Rockies and possibly initiating a new round of lake effect snow in the Great Lakes region. The overall pattern will remain active, meaning winter weather will continue to impact various parts of the country throughout the week. Finally, temperatures will begin a gradual warming trend in the eastern United States as the polar vortex core shifts back northward. However, this won't be a rapid warm-up. Temperatures will slowly climb from well below normal to near normal by the end of the week. Safety recommendations. For winter storm areas, if you are in an area under a winter storm warning, delay all travel if possible. If you absolutely must travel, ensure your vehicle is properly winterized with working windshield wipers, adequate antifreeze, and good tire tread. Carry an emergency kit with blankets, non-perishable food, water, a flashlight with extra batteries, first aid supplies, and a fully charged mobile phone with a car charger. Drive slowly and increase following distances dramatically. Allow yourself extra time to reach your destination. Be especially cautious on hills and when making turns. Avoid sudden braking or acceleration, which can cause you to lose control on icy roads. If you do get stuck, stay with your vehicle unless you can see a building nearby. Your vehicle provides shelter and makes you more visible to rescuers. For flooding areas, never attempt to drive through flooded roadways. The depth of water is often impossible to judge, and even shallow flowing water can sweep a vehicle away. Turn around, don't drown. If your vehicle stalls in water, abandon it immediately and move to higher ground. Floodwaters can rise rapidly. Stay informed about flood warnings in your area. If you're told to evacuate, do so immediately. Don't wait to see if conditions improve. Flood-related deaths often occur when people delay evacuation or try to return to an evacuated area too soon. For extreme cold areas, limit outdoor exposure during extreme cold, especially if temperatures or wind chills drop below zero. Frostbite can occur in less than 10 minutes on exposed skin. When you must go outside, dress in layers with wind-resistant outer layers. Cover all exposed skin, including your face, with a scarf or mask. Check on elderly neighbors and relatives. Older adults are more vulnerable to cold-related health problems. Ensure pets are brought indoors or have adequate shelter from the cold. Never leave pets outside in extreme cold temperatures. For fire weather areas, avoid any outdoor burning during red flag warning periods. Do not dispose of cigarettes outdoors. Even a small ember can start a fire. If you see smoke or fire, report it immediately to 911. Have evacuation plans ready and know multiple routes out of your area in case roads become blocked.